Once, in a quiet town by the hills, there lived a girl named Mira. Mira was kind and bright, but she worried constantly. If her friends disagreed with her, she'd overthink for days. If her grades dropped slightly, she'd panic. And when things didn't go her way, she'd whisper, "Why is everything always against me?" Day by day, her peace faded. It wasn't the world that made her tired, it was her own thoughts. One afternoon, after another long day of frustration, Mira came home looking defeated. Her grandmother, a gentle woman with silver hair and quiet eyes, noticed. She said softly, "Come, child. I want to show you something." They walked into the kitchen. On the table sat 3 items: a metal pot, a raw egg, and a few tea leaves. Her grandmother filled the pot with water and placed it on the fire. Soon, the water began to boil, bubbling furiously. Without saying a word, she placed the egg into the pot. Then she dropped in the tea leaves. Mira watched silently as the steam rose. After a few minutes, her grandmother turned off the heat and said, "Now, take a look." The egg, once fragile, had become firm inside. The tea leaves, once dry and dull, had released a beautiful color and fragrance into the water. Her grandmother smiled and asked, "Tell me, Mira, what changed?" Mira shrugged. They were both in the same boiling water, but they reacted differently. Her grandmother nodded. "Yes, the boiling water represents life's troubles, the things we can't control. The same heat that can harden one thing can also release beauty from another. The difference is not in the water, child, but in what's inside." Those words struck Mira deeply. She realized she had been fighting against life instead of learning from it. Every time a storm came, she froze, forgot her strength, and allowed fear to control her. That night, she sat by her window, looking at the clouds moving across the moon. For the first time, she didn't wish for the storm to stop. She whispered to herself, "Maybe I can learn to stay calm inside the storm." From the next morning, Mira began to practice this new way of thinking. When someone spoke harshly to her, she didn't react right away. She took a breath and thought, "This is just boiling water. I choose what I become in it." When she failed a test, she didn't cry. She opened her notebook and said, "This is my chance to become stronger." And when life got loud and messy, she'd close her eyes and imagine herself as the tea leaf, releasing calm and color even in heat. At first, it wasn't easy. Her old habits of fear and doubt tried to return. But each time they did, she remembered her grandmother's words. Weeks passed, then months, and something changed. Her friends noticed she was calmer. Her teachers saw she smiled more. Her family felt her peace even in silence. Mira had learned that strength wasn't about avoiding pain. It was about transforming it. One evening, she visited her grandmother again. The old woman was sitting by the window, knitting quietly. Mira hugged her and said, "Grandma, I think I understand now." Her grandmother looked up and smiled. "And what have you learned, my dear?" Mira replied, "The world won't always be kind. The water will always boil. But I get to choose whether I become hard like the egg or graceful like the tea." Her grandmother's eyes shone. She said softly, "Then you've already won." My friends, remember this. Life will always have its boiling moments. Moments that test your patience, your strength, and your heart. But the question isn't how hot the water is. It's who you decide to be when it boils. You can harden and close yourself off like the egg, or you can open up like the tea, spreading warmth, color, and calm no matter what happens around you. Because true peace doesn't come from escaping the storm. It comes from realizing that even in the storm, you still have the power to choose your response. So next time life heats up and everything feels out of control, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask instead, "What will I become in this moment?" Because the answer to that question, that quiet choice, will decide the flavor of your life. Remember, you can't stop the water from boiling, but you can decide whether to become bitter or to become tea.